For the fifth and final YouTube video for this thing, we are going to go over money and banking. For this is St. Patrick's Day. For those of you finding me a four-leaf clover, first one gets extra credit, by the way. Notice entry point 8.5. Today we're going to go over the monetary policy. This is how government regulates the amount of money in circulation. The Federal Reserve money, you know where they got all that money, they regulate the money. They decide how to regulate the money. They print up to $33 million a day to replace old money, which I would love some $33 million a day. Just going to let you know. Interest rates. You have interest rates. Anytime you borrow money, you're going to have interest rates. You have interest rates on houses, cars, credit cards. They are horrible. Nobody likes it. Nobody. But the Fed does charge banks a discount rate. This is where they can borrow money at a lower rate than what they're charging you, so they can charge you a lower rate. In other words, you might want to make you spend money. If they charge a higher interest rate, this means they have a tight monetary policy because they don't feel like there's a lot of money out there in circulation to be spent. They don't have a lot of confidence in the consumer to sit back and pay off their bills. Reserve requirements are the amount of money banks require to keep, because banks have to be able to pay you back a certain amount of money. Low reserve is less money to spend. A high reserve is more money to spend because they have more money that they can sit there and loan out to you for certain reasons. Money, who needs it? Me and you probably. There are three functions of money. You need to know all these. So you have a medium of exchange, it stores value, and money also measures value. Currency is any type of money, coins or paper, right, Brenton?
Yeah.
And money is based upon what? Say that.
Value of it.
So, do you like money?
Yeah.
Do you want more money?
Yeah.
So, how are you going to get more money? More money, more problems.
Yeah. More money, more problems.
More money, more problems. All right, so this is no longer the gold standard, but if you ever do find like an old coin from 1964 or before it, silver is actually what's in the quarters. I've got a bunch of nickels that are actually solid silver. They're worth about $1.50, $1.75 a piece as last time I checked, in case you ever get really wild and crazy. There are different types of financial systems. There's commercial banks, savings and loan, credit unions, and a security. Commercial banks are full banking services to individuals and businesses. This is typically what you see when you go down the road and you see a BB&T. Savings and loan money to people buying houses. These are the ones that usually get in trouble for being a little risky, but that's their primary deal. They just lend money to people buying homes. Credit unions sponsored by labor unions or government, open only to members. We have a state employees credit union. This is for teachers or somebody who works for the state. They get free deals with it. The big thing about state employees credit unions in North Carolina is you can cash in all your change. You don't have to pay that extra 10%, which is really cool during Christmas time. And security, all banks are insured through the FDIC for individual accounts up to $100,000. This came as a result of the stock market crash in 1929, where the banks didn't have the money to pay each other back. So the federal government stepped up, said in order for you to be able to pay, to start a new bank, you had to be FDIC insured, and this means that you had to have enough money to pay each person back for each individual account up to $100,000 for that account. If they got more money into it, they're just going to lose that money. The Federal Reserve System is bankers' bank or the Fed. Banks borrow from the Fed. The Board of Governors run the bank. These are presidential appointments the Senate ratifies. There are 7 members of the board, and they serve 14-year terms, so that they're probably not so willing to give up their vote or something like that. They're trying to make them a little bit more like judges, where they weren't so influenced by voters and stuff like that. It's nonpartisan, so there's not really Democrats, Republicans. It's just these people have their opinion on where the banks should go, and these guys are appointed and ratified to serve on the Board of Governors for the Federal Reserve System. Advisory councils, there's a total of 3. They report on conditions of the economy and banks and consumer loans. The Federal Open Market Committee is the FOMC, that are known as FOMC. This is the policy-making group of the Fed. Just say FOMC. It's a fun word. And they control the money supply, and there are 12 members. You can look at Branton looking for a four-leaf clover right now. He's having no luck, as you can tell. You can't find it with your phone. You cannot find it with your phone.
Let's go down there in the middle of the field. Let's go.
Banking regulations, there's bank mergers and relationships between U.S. banks. They sell U.S. Treasury bonds, consumer credits, and interest rates. So this is all what the Federal Reserve System does. They also do discount rates, which is interest rate the Fed charges banks for loans. That's key. If you can't tell, I put it in there twice. because the interest rates the Fed charges banks for loans determines your interest rates for your own personal use. It's going to determine the interest rates for the car your parents are going to buy for you, the house that you'll buy, the house your parents are living in, and stuff of that nature. Banking services, there was no paper money until the Civil War. The National Banking Act of 1863 brought a national currency because before this time period it was more important to be part of a state than what it was as the federal government. The Civil War changed all that for us. So by changing all it for us, we decided to go to a national currency. Before that, you can find North Carolina money, Virginia money, and these are what you can usually find in old antique shops, and some of you guys might have some of this stuff up at your house. Now Jackson's looking for a 4-leaf clover. Say hey, Jackson. The Federal Reserve Act of 1913 says the federal government, or the Fed, has the power to regulate banks, make loans, and control the growth of money. This is giving the Fed a lot of power. So this is where things start turning and things start going by the Federal Reserve System. The Glass-Steagall Banking Act established the FDIC. You had a savings and loan crisis where federal government banked up banks because they were giving money to the wrong people and things were just going a little bit crazy. Taxpayers owed $200 billion and it was a financial fiasco. The Gramm-Leach-Bliley Act of 1999 allowed banks to engage in all financial services, and you had banking, insurance, securities, credit cards, etc., which we had the big hosh-posh of a bunch of different deals to sit there and make sure that we had everything right and allow banks to sit there and get in the middle of everything. All right, this is the last one. I've got a test grid from Caitlin, so I'm going to get off of here, and hopefully this is the last video for the free enterprise system. Find your 4-leaf clover. Happy